There are mindset coaches. There are transformational trainers. And then every once in a while, you meet someone whose presence doesn't just teach, it shifts the room. Today, I have the privilege of welcoming someone who has been doing exactly that at the highest level for more than 37 years. She has trained and coached tens of thousands of people across the US, Russia, Mexico, Chile, and China. She has transformed organizations, elevated leadership cultures, doubled incomes, healed families, and helped people step into power, possibility, and prosperity, not by working harder, but by seeing things differently. She is the co-founder of Inspire Coaching and Inspire Business Success, a global transformational trainer, executive leadership strategist, and what I affectionately call a true mindset wizard. She is
Ah,
also the best-selling author of The Problem is How You See the Problem. What I personally love most about her is that she doesn't just help people reframe, she helps them reclaim who they've always been before they were conditioned out of their power. My friends, please help me welcome someone whose presence elevates every room she enters, Ms. Lisa Kalmin.
yay. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, darling. Good to see you.
Yes, Lisa, I'm so happy you're here. I've
Thank you.
experienced firsthand how when you teach, it's not just information, it is transformation. And it's very rare to meet someone who teaches mindset not from theory, but from identity, embodiment, and love. And I think that's why this conversation matters so much, especially for our Global Cash Summit audience, because
Yay.
we're talking deeply about cash, confidence, and global impact, and you uniquely embody all three. So,
Thank
you've
you.
been transforming and elevating human lives for over 37 years. What is the heart behind your work, and what continues to light you up in the transformational leadership space after all this time?
Oh, good question. Good question. I got started, I think, in an initial way in looking at how to make a difference when I was literally a teenager. I think I was 14 years old, and I'm 67, and I was 14 at the time. And it was if anybody's old enough to remember, the Olympics in 1972 were in Munich, and then all the Israeli athletes got killed and murdered, and it was a big thing. And it just didn't make sense to me. I was a kid who loved the Olympics, thought the Olympics was a time when the world came together peacefully, and I thought there's got to be a better way. There's something I can do. And so I think that was a spark. And I really didn't find a powerful way to make a difference the way I could. I have a degree in radio, TV, film, and then thought I would be in broadcasting, but that wasn't really it. And then I have an MBA and was in business, and that wasn't really it. So I did my own work. I did my own transformational journey. And through that, I saw how people could be uplifted, shifted, inspired to really be their authentic self and their best self. And so that started me on my journey. And the world has gone through many different iterations, I guess we could say, and my life has as well. And I still believe in humanity and what's possible when we access who we authentically are and go out and live our lives from our vision. So that's what keeps me going.
Oh, I love the fact that you're not just in the business of helping people set goals, but you're really helping them become someone new or stepping into the person they were always meant to be. Someone who doesn't just dream differently, but they see things differently, they receive things differently, and they lead differently. And that's where transformation becomes real. And now I know for myself that I experienced this from you as well. It was such a gift. I can just share with people very vulnerably that, I had a lot of responsibility. I was caring for a mom post-stroke for the last 10 years, and it was a 24/7 deal. And I was a retired opera singer who had to kind of give up my career. I made a choice. I didn't want my mom to go into a nursing home. I felt she had deserved to have a quality of life. I wanted her to have that. So I kind of gave up my singing career for her. And I never regretted that for one moment. Actually, today is the 1 year anniversary of her passing. So
Mhm.
it's just like it's a special day day, right? But
Yeah.
I went through leadership coaching with Lisa, and I can tell you, I was showing up really hard.
Mhm.
Because there was a lot of responsibility on me, and I was showing up in the toughest, hardest part of who I was. And
Mhm.
it was just really pushing people away. And what I didn't realize was, like, really inside, I'm the biggest softie, the biggest heart, the biggest love of everybody. And through her training, I was able to release that bitch exterior that I was putting forward towards people and really embrace my love for people and my love for myself at the same time. And I am a totally different person now. I show up in the world differently. I'm able
Yeah.
to work with people differently, and they feel that. And so I receive so much more love every single day and every single moment with every single client and every single experience. Now, you've coached leaders, entrepreneurs, executives, parents, couples, thousands of deeply capable people. What
Mhm.
core patterns do you see that keep people stuck, especially when it becomes to money or possibility and self-worth?
Well, I mean, you kind of spoke to it in a way because we all, through whatever uh, our environment gave us to live. Sometimes it's as children, sometimes it's in our teenager, young adult years, sometimes it's, as you said, taking care, having a lot of responsibility or burden is probably how you had it, and taking care of your mom, loving her all the way, and still feeling that weight on your shoulders. We all uh, protect ourselves in whatever way we do. And so that becomes our facade or our mask or our the way we present in the world. And that gets in the way of people not only experiencing their own freedom and authenticity, joy, aliveness, vitality, it also blocks love, blocks connection, blocks abundance, blocks everything. So none of us, just for all your listeners to make sure, none of us get there in an ingenuous way. We do it very innocently. We just do what we need to do to protect ourselves. So I'll give you just an example that many people might relate to. If, for example, if you're a woman and your dad left early or died early, or your parents divorced and he wasn't very active in your life, then even though had nothing to do with that child, the internal mechanisms we do to protect, we immediately, when we experience something that has a lot of deep rooted feelings that are tough, we immediately make it a concept, a belief, because we don't want to feel it. It feels too much to be abandoned. It feels too much to not have your dad there. It feels too hard, too hurtful. And so we make up a belief, we conceptualize it, and the belief might be, well, I'm not lovable, or men leave me, or whatever that becomes. Then, as human beings, what we do is we continue to play out the pattern because we're always going to be right about whatever it is that we see or believe. And we play the pattern out unconsciously. It's not that we want to be left or abandoned or hard or closed or whatever, or a doormat or any of the above. It's that we play it out unconsciously. And so then that becomes the pattern we generate. And then we keep reinforcing the pattern. So somebody like that might end up in bad relationships, men that don't treat them well, men that leave, men that cheat, men that are, you know, alcoholics or drug abusers or something like that. So everybody has their form of protection somewhere along the way in their life, and that's what gets in the way of their active, I would say, manifestation of their dreams and goals.
Right. And I see this all the time with entrepreneurs and people that I coach. Like, they don't actually have, sometimes they don't have a strategy problem. They actually have a self-permission problem. They
Yeah.
don't believe they're allowed to play at the level that they dream of. So even when the opportunity shows up, they kind of disqualify themselves before life has even had the chance to say yes.
Yeah.
Now, your book isn't it's titled The Problem is How You See the Problem, and
Mhm.
that alone is a complete mindset shift. So
Right.
how does that principle apply specifically to money, wealth, and leadership?
Yeah, it's interesting. So my book, like as you said, is called The Problem is How You See the Problem. So really it is our perspective that we come to, and the work I do, it works with people, and really for most people by the time they're 8 9 years old, their particular perspective gets set. It's like the glasses you put on, and this is how I see the world. um and so the problem is how you see the problem. So I go through a whole series in the book of how do you relate to the events in your life from a place that you can be empowered, even if they're not the events you wanted to have happen. Now, in terms of money, it's really very clear and specific. I do a money course that it gives people an opportunity to look at what were some of the beliefs and patterns that were modeled to us when we were children around money from our family of origin. Could be our parents, could be our grannies, grandpas, aunties, uncles, culture, neighborhood, and whatever was modeled. It's not just what was said. There's plenty of stuff that gets said, like money doesn't grow on trees, and rich people are X, Y, or Z, or whatever gets said. But modeled is even more powerful. So I've worked with some people who have told me that, their parents didn't talk much about money, but when they would go to sleep at night, their mom and dad would argue about money. And so money for them became a source of conflict. So much of this is what we sort of infuse
Mhm.
into our belief system from both spoken, modeled, what we see demonstrated, and especially about money. You can know how to make money, you can know all the strategies, you can put them in place, but if you don't have a belief system or a mindset that is open to the flow of money, you're gonna sabotage or lose it or not make or work really hard and not make the money you want. Something
Right.
like yeah.
Yeah, I often tell my clients like there's no more money in the world today than there was yesterday, but really changes is your capacity to receive it. So it's
Well,
not,
actually, there's more money.
well, yeah, actually you're right.
There's more money now than when we started this interview. There's more money now. It's an expanding resource. There's more money. So uh, there's enough. But as you're saying, there's enough. It's what am I attracting?
Yeah, and how we see ourselves in relation to money, right? Whether or not I'm worthy to receive it, whether
Mhm.
I deserve to receive it. Some people may say, "Oh, I would never buy a lottery ticket because I would never win because I don't deserve to win," right? So that kind of thing.
Yeah,
They already have closed the door before they even had the possibility. So they
absolutely.
will probably have a cap that they'll never go past in their life because they don't
Mhm.
see the possibility of it, right? You kind of have to see it first. So when the
Yeah.
world feels uncertain, like it does right now, financially, economically, even emotionally, what
Mhm.
perspective shift helps people stay rooted in expansion instead of slipping into that fear, that contraction, or that protection mode that they have?
Yeah, great question. Well, as we were just saying, the world is already like there's enough money. The world is already abundant. The world, the universe, God, however you have that, is abundant. And so ultimately, we're either blocking the flow or we're attracting the flow of abundance. And abundance is not just money. Abundance is also energy, time, joy, love, connection, anything. So the world has been through many uncertain times, as we know. And if we go back recently, we've all lived through COVID.
Right.
And, during COVID, it was a high uncertainty and so much wealth transferred hands.
Hmm.
If we think about what happened with Amazon or other, or Uber or DoorDash or all those, so in uncertainty, it isn't that it's the time to shrink, it's a time to get creative.
Right.
Like, all right, so there's still enough money in the world, there's still enough possibility, there's still enough opportunity. how do I get to be in the face of this?
Mhm.
You know, and the more grounded someone is in their own, you know, self-confidence about who they are and what value they offer, then the more they're going to attract opportunities, even when it's crazy out there.
Yeah, it's true. Like for myself personally, even just realizing that I was more than what I thought of
Mm,
myself. I realized that I was more than the one thing that I thought I was. I was more than just an opera singer. I was more than just a voice teacher. I was more. And then when I started seeing that you are more, I got the training, I got the education, I had the experience of new things. And then it opened up possibilities. Well, hey, by the way, did you happen to realize that you lost 200 pounds and for the last 10 years you've actually kept it off? You have a lot of wisdom that you could share
celebrate,
people
right?
who need
Right.
it, right? But I never thought about that as being a significant thing. And then all of a sudden this year, I was like, hey, I have information I could share with people. So I saw a new
Yeah.
possibility for making
Mhm.
money that where I could share my wisdom and provide value for people and really help the world from an experience that I didn't even give myself credit for. Right, because
Mhm.
I was just kind of surviving the last 10 years of my life, really. I didn't really give myself a pat on the back for any of it, but now I see things differently. So it does come down to your perception, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't just coach mindset though. You actually coach identity transformation and you teach people how to become that version of themselves who creates different results. So, what
Mhm.
is your framework or process for helping people shift that perception so those new results can begin to emerge even more quickly for them?
Yeah, well, I think it's exactly what some of what you're saying is. So, identity, we got to be careful about that word because people, like you said, you used a great example, like I was more than an opera singer.
Mhm.
So, if your identity is I am only an opera singer, and you get attached to that, not that that you don't have the talent to sing opera, you do clearly, but that's all I am, then that becomes a box. You know, we talk about getting outside the box or limiting beliefs. That's a box that people end up, that they could end up limiting them. So part of the framework that I support people with is, look, you're not any one thing only, but you are really in we use in the work I do, transformation, the power of your word and declaration. Like you are who you say you are.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying just wishful thinking. I'm saying the first of all, God, spirit, the universe, again, however you have that higher power, is really just a big order taker. So God or the universe or spirit will give you what you ask for. So be conscious of what you're asking for. And so I am always coaching people to use the words I am.
Mhm.
Couple reasons. The words I am bring people into their being rather than doing, like I do opera or I do trainings or what I am. And then what do you want to put after that? What is the human being, the quality of being you want to be? If loving is something you want to be, I am a loving person. I'm a loving woman. I'm a loving man. I'm a loving leader. I'm a loving whatever. If confident is it, confidence, so the power or of declaration is very important. So we're not any one stuck thing. We know plenty of people as yourself who had a long career at something and they were very good at it, but then found a new calling or a new possibility, whether it's you know, the fireman that became an artist or the store owner that started to, garden, and raise food, whatever. So my invitation for people is not to limit themselves into thinking I am only this or I'm only capable of this. Like, start with, let me just give them a process here. Start with a blank piece of paper, blank screen, whatever you like to use, what's your vision for your life? 30, 40 years ago, we said vision, people thought we meant eyesight. We don't mean that.
Right.
What's the life you want to be living? Like, take yourself out even 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and operate like, okay, if you woke up one morning and you were in your best life, your most visionary life, where are you? Who's there by you? What's the view outside your window? Who's around you? What do you feel? What do you think? What do you do as well? Whether it's you wake up and you're looking out at a lake and you go make your wonderful coffee and you sit on your porch, or you're walking through the middle of a bustling city to go to a meeting where you make a difference with certain kinds of people through your consulting, your coaching, your whatever you do.
Mhm.
So you got to start there and then start being the kind of person who that is. You can't, the world is taught once you get something, then you can be happy. Like once you're married, then you'll be happy. Once you have enough money, then you'll be happy. It's not that. You start with how do I get to be, or what are the feelings and the experience from that place, and then take action from there. I always used to coach people who wanted to be in a relationship that were single.
Mhm.
Well, be like you'd be if you were in the most glorious relationship of your life with everybody. Not sexually, not romantically, but go be joyful, go be connected, go be alive, go be loving, giving, freed up, excited. And that will attract.
Yeah.
We live in an attract, and everything's energy. Money's energy, everything's energy. So,
Yeah, that's so powerful. It's that really the you get to be, then you get to do, then you get to have.
that's right.
And when that identity shifts, that strategy finally has somewhere to land. So can you share a story where a perception shift or an emotional reframe actually created a financial breakthrough for someone?
Absolutely. So many, so many. One of my clients uh, took my money course, and she was divorced, but through the divorce, got got saddled with over $100,000 of debt.
Right.
And through her shift in possibility and her worthiness and her value, she went back into court and got that debt released.
Ah,
So
okay.
that was big. Another client I had who was committed to starting a community kitchen, like something we're in a poor neighborhood, inner city kitchen kind of thing. Um, had the vision, had the idea, had the vision, had the idea, had never gotten the funding, and through the process of shifting her confidence and her way of being with people and her own value and worthiness, got the grant for her building, like $2, $3 million, something like that.
Yeah, I love that because it proves something that we really deeply believe here at the Global Cash Summit. It's that money is rarely a strategy problem. It's an identity, it's a perception situation, it's a permission problem
Mhm,
that we
mhm.
get to fix. Now, you teach that emotions play a massive role in money because money carries meaning, it carries that energy. So, how do we move from trigger back into traction when it comes to our finances?
Well, it could be in anything. And so, first of all, if everything is energy, then energy can be attracted and it can flow. So, how do you be to attract energy? So, let's say, how do you move from fear? First of all, everything we fear, we bring to us, we attract.
Mhm.
It's a very powerful force. And let me say to everyone, you're not getting rid of your fear. If check your pulse. If you're not afraid, you probably died. Okay. So what can you do with your fear? You can transform how you relate to your fear, which I call courage. Courage is taking action even though you're afraid.
Right.
you know so I always say there's two kinds of people in the world: people who are afraid and do nothing, and people who are afraid and do something. you know yeah. So uh if you are triggered about anything, whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your in-laws, whatever it is, your flat tire, first of all, notice the trigger. I'm going to give them a step-by-step process. First, number one, notice that you're triggered. Because some people are triggered, they don't even know they're triggered. Like, you ever heard somebody say, "What are you talking about? I'm not upset." And they're like freaking out. Yeah. So notice that you're triggered. And a trigger is anything you don't, like an unhappy emotion. It's, uh, frustration, anger, resentment, annoyance, sadness, whatever it is. Okay. So notice it, then name it. So let's say your partner comes in and they're grumpy from work, something happened, and they're like, whatever. And you notice you're upset or annoyed or whatever. So notice it and go, oh yeah, I'm triggered now. I'm upset. I'm not happy. And then name it. I was like, okay, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. All right. I'm annoyed. Why am I annoyed? I'm annoyed because I work so hard at dinner and my partner is not noticing or grateful. Well, take that moment where you don't feel seen, heard, cared about, loved, appreciated, whatever it is, and then look back into your past, particularly your childhood if it's there, and look at where else in my past did I feel similar in a similar way. Oh yeah, I worked so hard on my grades and my mom was always so busy or my dad was so busy, didn't even acknowledge me or he didn't this, he did that. Okay, so you got to notice where it's from. All right. Then the next piece to notice is like, okay, so let's say it's my husband, his name is John. Well, John is just Johnny. He's just Johnny, or Steving or Bobbing or whatever it is. Okay. And it's actually a neutral event. It's not neutral to you because it hurts, but it's neutral in that it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Mm.
There's no inherent meaning. There's a whole part of my book about this. Well, if it's a neutral event and I'm being triggered by some, all upset is an unmet need from our childhood.
Right.
All upset is an unmet need from childhood. Um, this is from when my dad or mom didn't pay attention to me, blah, blah. Then I can go, okay, wait a minute. Now I can look at it from a little bit of a distance perspective. I can go, okay, he's upset. I don't know why he's upset. Maybe he got a bad news. Maybe the boss was a jerk. Maybe the traffic sucked. Maybe whatever.
Right.
Okay, then I can go, okay, how can I relate to this in a different way? Because if I can relate to it in a different way, I have my power back.
Right.
I'm not a victim to the event. So then I can go, hey, I noticed you're a little grumpy, John, honey. What's going on? Well, my boss, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, dinner looks so nice. I mean, it just diffuses everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
So, that clarity of where things came from, really naming it, and then just getting your confidence in your presence back it will
Mhm.
allow you just to kind of move forward. So that's so great. So for someone watching this who really wants more financial ease this month, what
Okay.
are two or three simple actions that they could take that would immediately help them feel more empowered?
Okay, great. Well, first of all, know that money flows and money's an energy, so you're not screwed. You're not totally screwed. I'm not saying you're going to be financially free tomorrow.
Right.
And there are a couple things you can immediately do to open flow. One, so we're either again opening flow or stopping the flow. So one thing to do is notice like do a little journaling. What were some of the beliefs or energy or sort of patterns I noticed with my parents around money that were either spoken or modeled?
Mm,
And how has that affected me? Like, you know, because if your parents, for example, were like rich people suck and they're terrible people, they're awful, even though you know in your head that's not necessarily true. We know lots of rich people that are lovely and amazing. We know a lot of rich people that are crappy. We know poor people that are amazing. We know poor people that are crappy.
right.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Even though you know that's not true, if it's an unconscious belief, you're not going to want to be a lousy person. So you're going to push money away so you're never rich or wealthy or whatever that is for you. So notice those because that can open up. Number two, look for your you said something about this limiting, I call it a set point.
Mhm.
There's a difference between a thermometer and a thermostat. A thermometer goes up and down based on the conditions. A thermostat sets the conditions.
Right,
Okay. So we have a money thermostat. And what I mean by that, it's a set point. So you might have a set point in your income, like the money coming in. You might have a set point in the money left over. You might have a set point in your debt or your savings. And what I mean by this is different things happen, but you end up with the same result. So all of us have had an experience where a different amount of money comes in to our bank account at the beginning of the month. We end up with the same amount no matter what at the end. Or I've had this experience where I'll uh, get my savings to a certain amount and where I'm my goal, and then something will break,
right,
like the water heater or the car. It's something big. And then so watch for where you have set points and begin to affirm the power of declaration again, some other set point. I like things simple, so I always say I'm so happy and grateful for. I'm so happy and grateful for the $50,000 in my bank account. I'm so happy and grateful for the, you know, new high-paying client I just received. I'm so happy and grateful for whatever.
right,
And then the third place to open up flow immediately is in the domain of what I call outflow, like you're outflowing because energy is, coming and going all the time. So
right,
if you're someone who's always like this, like you're just, and this isn't about being an introvert. I mean, you can be an introvert and still outflow. So outflow is giving, outflow is generosity, outflow is also energy. If you're in a room, you're participating. Outflow is um, listening to your partner. Outflow is, whatever it is,
mhm,
as many, I mean, obviously there's active giving and then there's a lot of ways your energy can flow.
right.
So that's number one. And gratitude is a very high vibration. But gratitude, I have a little thing about gratitude. So many people do my gratitude list, my five. Okay, not talking about that. Gratitude is when you are 100% grateful for exactly what's happening in the moment. So if your dog poops in the living room, you're like, okay, like rather than resist it like this, okay, my dog's alive and my dog can poop, whatever it is. And then again, I'm not saying put lipstick on a pig. I know
Right,
we're
right.
saying that, but I'm saying like in this moment, be exceptionally in appreciation for what is.
Even when things are bad. Even when things are bad, I'm always grateful because I know that it's there to teach me something, that it's an opportunity for me to learn something, to challenge myself to overcome it, it will, I will become a survivor of it. We all are survivors. We are
Yeah,
existing today so that you are 100% survivor. You've overcome everything that was thrown at you in your life up until this point because you are here.
yeah. And bad is completely interpretive. It's completely perspective.
Mhm.
Like if your water cooler runs out of water, you might be frustrated, but your pipes still have water running.
Yep,
Well, there's plenty of people in the world that don't have any water running,
right.
you know. So I'm not saying you should, be like, oh, I'm so, grateful for some food. I mean, and what we consider bad, look, our culture has become I will call it impatient. Like, McDonald's or Starbucks is too slow for us.
Sure.
Like we can't make a cup of coffee, like just bring some perspective to and appreciate whatever you appreciate grows.
Mhm.
Whatever you appreciate grows.
Wow. So you also work with leadership teams through Inspire Business Success, helping them
Mhm.
merge emotional intelligence with profitability. So
Yep.
how can leaders use these mindset tools to elevate both culture and cash flow?
Yeah, well, I think if you got the culture right, the cash flow comes in a business,
Right.
you know. So um, you know, my biggest work with leaders when I work with, uh, executive teams is two things. What's the vision? Like, what are they there for? What's the purpose? Like, keeping the mission alive. And almost all companies have a mission statement, vision statement, but it becomes this thing on a piece of paper or on the wall rather than a calling forth of who we are together as a team.
Right.
So when I think about companies that are successful, they're in service to their customers and their clients, whether it's a Nordstrom's or whether it's, whoever it is.
Mhm.
So keeping the leader connected to the vision. Secondly, I teach a way for every leader to connect, it as style flexing, but to connect with different kinds of people. Different things motivate different people. And if I'm going to be a good leader, I need to know what is it that inspires Betty different than what inspires George.
Right.
And whether that's my executive team or it's as we go down the line. And everything for me is culture, context, environment. So if I've got an inspiring, appreciative, powerful environment where people are challenged, called forth, and appreciated, then I'm going to have a more successful business than if I'm always bitchy and complaining that nobody's doing their job.
Yeah, 100%. So I'd love to bring this full circle
Yeah,
because you have a beautiful, powerful experience called Money, Wealth, and Miracles,
I do.
which truly embodies what we've discussed today. Can you share what is Money, Wealth, and Miracles and who is it really designed for?
Yeah, thank you. My Money Wealth and Miracles class is an online. I learned how to do lots of stuff online during COVID, as many of us did. It's a six powerful modules online of how to open the flow of money. Like it goes through what's the stops you have, how do you open it up, what are some ways you can actively take action immediately and engage in shifting your mindset. So it's not, there is some strategy to it, but it's much more about getting yourself out of your way so you can open the flow of money.
Yeah, it's so that we can become the person that can receive that. So we can
Yeah.
hold and multiply more money. And so it's really wealth from wholeness, not necessarily from the hustle, which may be different for some of the people that are attendees at the Global Cash Summit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. So
great.
it's not about, I mean, you still have to take action. You gotta be a committed person. You gotta do your stuff and hustle sometimes. And it's not about more hustle. It's about if I don't shift this, no matter how much hustle I do, it's not gonna show up on my bottom line.
Mhm.
Cassandra, can I pause this? And I know I'm hoping we have some editors. My dog needs to go outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in the real world here.
Okay. And we're back, guys, because it's real
Yeah,
life.
real life. My
Yeah.
dog had to go outside.
So listen, guys, if this conversation opened up something in you, if you want to not just understand this work, but actually experience it, you're going to love the exclusive training that Lisa is bringing to our VIP portal where you can rewatch, you can re-experience and work with it in your own time and space. It's not motivational, but it is really transformational and it's a mindset recalibration, that identity alignment, emotional release, and that wealth expansion from the inside out. So this is where the work goes from interesting to irreversible. So, Lisa, before we wrap up, if you could leave our audience with one belief that could really begin to shift their relationship with money, identity, or possibility, what would that be?
Well, I'm going to say two things. Okay. Number one is that in my experience, after 40 years, every human being has a unique gift and talent that only they have. And so you are an irreplaceable gift to the planet. So don't ever think anything different than that. And then number two, that money is like everything, energy. If you break down our tiniest particle, it's just neutrons and atoms and protons all I mean, electrons, neutrons bouncing around. So if everything's energy and money is energy, then you can attract it and it can flow. So don't give up that you are stuck where you are. There's new possibilities all the time.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that, and I know that our audience does too. So, did you want to speak a little bit about the free gift that you're sharing with everyone?
Yeah, so if you're, I think it's a gift for the VIPs. I mean, definitely be that. It's it's about 75 to 90 minute recording of a master class that I've given that really takes you through the process of looking at the beliefs I talked about. So to bring your journal and your pen or your computer because you'll have an opportunity to not only take notes, but also to really dive into your own patterns and begin to shift them. And then I give you 3 ways to begin to immediately access a flow of money. So it's not just educational, it is transformative and people have big breakthroughs right out of it.
Yeah,
I had a woman who found her dream house literally a day after that master class.
amazing. So, listen, guys, it can really, really change your life. I know from experience that Lisa is incredibly powerful. She changed my life. I will be forever grateful. Lisa, thank you for your presence here today, your mastery and your heart. You don't just teach transformation, you actually provoke it with love, with truth, with that deep belief in human possibility. So, to everyone watching, if this activated something in you, don't just let it inspire you, let it transform you. I'm Cassandra Bourne, the host of the Global Cash Summit, and we will see you in our next conversation.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Hey, thanks.